Absolutely.
in a lot of
I mean,
ways.
I think, it's not just about women's empowerment, it's about overall political empowerment. So I think you also have the questions in many countries as to whether or not, if you bring people broadband, however you bring it, you're bringing people a political voice, and not all countries are going to want everybody to have a political voice. So these are very complicated issues. It is economic development, but a lot of political questions and policy wrapped up in wealth. And then in truly countries, we're still resolving clean water. The question is always what comes first. You give people water, you give them broadband. I'd say giving them broadband is somewhat of a hard sell in the absence of clean water.
Right, but it's in a way this information and communications technology literacy, it's being increasingly identified as this fourth literacy, which it does sound like that, in a lot of ways, cart before the horse, but providing the right information about a current policy or current situation, really, truly, I guess to use the term education, is
right.
Is that kind of key.
I agree, and we call it literacy, and I call it empowerment, because if people are empowered, if people really have access to the information about why don't they have clean water, and just the information they discover that the government's building a dam in the wrong place, or that a company is being waste into their water, they may never know that unless they have that information.
Right.
I believe in the democratized power of new technologies. I also believe in the personal empowerment that new technologies can bring. But again, we can get those technologies out there, but if the government has policies and they control them, where they censor them, where there is a risk posed by speaking up using these technologies, then we haven't fully achieved our purpose. We have to do both. We have to get the technologies deployed and in the hands of people everywhere, and we have to work to ensure that the policies are consistent with human rights, consistent with economic development, and consistent with innovation, so that we can constantly be coming up with new and better ways to serve the kinds of communities that aren't generally served. Those new ideas don't tend to come up from entrenched monopoly kinds of information and technology providers. So we have to,
yeah. As a kind of a final summation of a lot of this, on this education and creating this empowerment, this literacy across the waves for everybody. Obviously, not just for women, but for truly everybody, to give them that empowerment. Do you have an opinion, or I would even, someone like yourself, I would even ask, do you have an idea for moving toward that kind of solution, whether it happens on the college and businesses level, to how they can create and improve awareness and competency within this generation, or even individuals, on the individual level across the globe, how people could create or help push and build a better structure for the framework and these guiding principles of this necessary technology that we need to harness for this generation and for generations to come.
So I believe communities need to get organized. I think that in a lot of parts of the world, these rural areas will get ignored until they organize and demand what they need, and that we need to use these tools to give them a louder voice. Will it happen at the college and university level? Perhaps, but it's not clear that those who develop those skills are necessarily going to come back and help build those communities. It's enormous investment. I think the entities that invest in the developing world, whether those are the World Bank or other kinds of economic development funds, need to make this because this is a tool that is used for all, as I said, political autonomy, economic empowerment, personal development, human rights, and we have to stop pursuing all those goals without figuring out how technology is integrated into it. I think technology by itself is nothing. It's developing strategies for all the things that need to happen, and how does technology help us here? Technology doesn't fix anything. It's not magic, but it is a very powerful tool, and what we have to do, we have to demand of our policymakers that they understand that there's debates going on in Europe and the United States about whether there's a right to the internet, as a human right, as a constitutional right, and I think that we have to put it in that frame. Under human rights laws that apply, and that countries have signed treaties to participate in, we have to treat it as a right, and we have to treat it as a right as part of political freedom, and we have to treat it as a right in terms of education, economic growth. 10 years from now, it'll be about bringing health care to rural areas. We're just starting to do that now in the United States. So I think we just have to put this on the agenda in a very forceful way and understand that if you're a person advocating for human rights, this needs to be part of it. If you're advocating for educational reform, this needs to be part of it. If you're organizing around politics, it needs to be part of it. If you're building a cooperative of women to do something that's economic in developing your community or yourselves, then this needs to be part of it. And I think we just have to all be delivering that message.
Leslie, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us and speak with the really incredible Changemakers community, people who are inspired, like I said, by people like yourself who...
Oh, I'm inspired by them. I have it easy.
Well, again, we truly want to thank you for taking the time today. And
thank you.
Again, that's Leslie Harris, the President and CEO of the Center for Democracy and Technology. That is www.cdt.org. And once again, this has been Ashoka's Changemakers, the Women, Tools, Technology, Building Opportunities and Economic Power campaign. And we hope that you will tune in tomorrow as well to hear us speak with Media Bistro founder Laurel Tooby. We encourage you to follow Changemakers on Twitter at www.twitter.com/Changemakers, where you can learn more about women, tools, technology. We look forward to hearing from you tomorrow. See you next time.